Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a special treat for you. We're chatting with Cristy Sharp from LadyCat Packing and Organizing. She's got some amazing insights on the ins and outs of decluttering, downsizing, and making the stressful moves way easier. If you've ever wondered how to tackle a house full of stuff, making the process smoother, this episode is for you. They have this house, it's 2,600 square feet or 5,000 square feet, and they've lived there for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. See it all the time.
And they want to downsize. What would be the process that you would start with? Like when you go there, or how do you work them? Because I'm thinking about all the personal stuff, and I'm thinking how they got the plates up on the walls, and they got the 20 years worth of stuff that they care about.
Right.
Or they think they care about.
Right. It depends how small they're going to, right? What the sizes are downsizing from and to, and what they're willing to let go of. Because you have to be perceptive and kind of feel them out. We start with the things that are the least sensitive. You know, like, oh, these were my kids' keepsake boxes. Okay, that's the last thing you're gonna, or your parents just died. Those are the last things you're gonna go through with them because they're gonna take forever and be painful.
Okay.
And you don't force, like we don't force them. We just say, okay, remember the size of the home we're going into, you know, so that they're reminded, like, you can't keep everything. It's a very hands-on massage. Like it takes a lot of patience. Not everyone can do this job.
Right.
It's definitely like you have to love people.
That's why you're here.
And care about.
That's why you're here.
How they feel about their stuff. And you know, what's really sad is when you find that they have it in a storage shed, because then no one's enjoying it.
Right.
You're literally a hoarder.
Right.
Because it's just, it's stuff I paid a lot of money for, or for some reason they won't let go. They just won't let go.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem for a lot of people.
A lot of people. So
we move every 2 or 3 years. You know.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's not.
It's stacking.
There's not a lot of pleasure in that, except for selling the house, maybe.
Right.
Changing.
There's no pleasure in moving every 2 to 3 years.
No.
Well, moving sucks anyway. Like nobody likes to move.
But the part of
but
it.
But if they have people who will pack for them, unpack for them, declutter for them, organize.
And I try to have the conversation with people. It's like if you put something in a box and you don't need it for 3 months, like if you start putting stuff in a box right now and you don't even think about it for 3 months, then why do you have it?
Right.
But,
you didn't miss it.
So how did you get started in this business? What?
It's a personality thing, right? So I moved here from California 8 years ago.
Okay.
And before I left, I was a dental assistant. And I said to my friend, I don't want to be this anymore. What do you think I'd be good at? She's like, oh my God, you always, every time you come over, and she's my ex-sister-in-law, you start rearranging things and ask me why there's clutter in corners, because I know her so well that I could say that. And she goes, why don't you be a professional organizer? And this is like when it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to be like cleaning people's home. What are you talking about? She said, no, look it up. And so when I moved here, I started a company called Organized by Cristy. Mm-hmm. And I only had it for like 6 months, and then I met the owner of Wildcat Moving. Okay. Because I sent out all these emails to all different moving companies just for leads. And he's like, you know what, we need this, because they were doing packing along with their moving. Yeah. So it's like the same guys that are moving them are packing them, so they're not being specially trained. And so some damages would happen. Right. And so he had the idea, he saw the value, and he said, an organizer would be good to do this, to just put packing and unpacking, all in one separate entity.
It's funny you say that, because he must research keywords, or he must think on that.
Sure.
He thinks on that level, because that's what I got to when I was thinking about our meeting today. Like I was checking out like questions that people have. Like I'm going through this whole process, but packing and organizing got put into the same.
Mm-hmm. It's a thing now.
Yeah.
I feel like we started it.
So that's cool. So it was just that you didn't want to be a dental hygienist. But then you found what you enjoyed.
Yeah, I never really wanted to do that. I just found myself where I needed a job, and fell into that. Yeah. And then this is my natural, like, coping mechanism. I don't know where I got it from, but all through my life, I've always seen order. I've always wanted to stay, like, that's one of the things we do in LadyCat, is we do staging, but it's only with the client's items. And it's my favorite thing out of everything, because you know, when you walk in someone's home, I don't know if you do this, but when I walk in someone's home, I immediately can see everything, right? And then I'm like, oh, why is that there? Why is that there? This should be there. That would be so great if that was there. Or pull that away. And so now I can do that. And people think I'm magic.
I do visualize things really well, like more so than like the general public probably. Like,
yeah. Well, you have to, right? You're an entrepreneur.
But I think that like the time that it takes to organize things, like the patient, maybe it's the patience. That's why working with my wife is so cool, because I can tell when my patience, like, not that I wouldn't vibe with the person or whatever, but when it comes to like that like care piece, like I'm not as good at that. Like I can see it and I can say that's the way it needs, but the working people through, I shouldn't say that I can't do that, because I have to do that with clients all the time.
Maybe it's not as easy for you. Maybe that's the wording.
Empathy, maybe. That's the word.
And so she brings that?
The empathy.
Yeah.
I'm getting better. The older I get, the more empathetic I get.
Right.
I mean, I was really cold for a long time, but now I'm getting better at it.
Well, I'm glad I met you now.
So the services you offer the organizing in the packing.
Obviously, yeah. Packing, organizing. A lot of time, so it doesn't have to be related to a move either, because some people need like their floor, like there's a flood in their house or something, or they just want you to do this area, right?
Right.
So organizing can be the whole house, can be one spot, can be decluttering, can be before a move, because why would you move all that stuff?
Yeah.
And pay all that money and go into a new home and have all this old stuff you're like, why didn't I get rid of?
Right.
Or it can just be because your home's cluttered.
Yeah.
You know, your office is cluttered. Or so packing, unpacking, decluttering, organizing, staging, and we sell moving supplies. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I've seen where you've done that to people's closets too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like just people that are in their normal everyday lives.
Right.
That like,
or their garages.
It's gotten out of control. Time to get help with this.
Yeah,
cool.
It's fun.
So yeah, my thought really with this whole thing goes to like that baby boomer type person. Like the empathy comes in and I start looking, like when I look them in the eyes and they seem excited to make a move and I'm like, how are they going to do this? Like,
because there's so much stuff.
So much stuff. Like so much stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the last place we went, the garage, I mean, it was all organized. It wasn't a mess. But in the garage, they had built, and they're like, oh, those are commercial grade shelves. And I'm like, oh, okay. But they had them all the way up the walls, all the way over the garage doors, and like in the ceiling, you know, just stacked full of organized things. Yeah. I think they knew they had there were clear tubs. You could see in them. You know what's in them. Like, what is it all and what do you do with it? But I think about that because a lot of times it's like that emotional detachment from the things. The emotional, like you brought it up a couple seconds ago, but like that emotional detachment is why we sell houses that other real estate agents don't. Because we do help them through that, right? Like expired listings are a big source of our business. And those are properties that have been on the market and didn't sell.
Right.
There's a reason why.
Right. And either timing or the wrong agent or
most of it is emotional
maybe
attachment.
They didn't.
They don't want to leave they don't want to leave money on the table. They haven't started packing their things. They haven't looked at a new house. A lot of times it happens with like properties that require a lot of maintenance and the spouse passed away. Right?
Yeah. Then they're not
and they know they need to leave because they're not taking care of the property. But then the example of the plates around the room.
They're overwhelmed.
You know, they're like, well, we don't want to take those down because it'll look like we're moving. I'm like, exactly, right? Like, but it's not until they start taking the plates down and putting it into a box that they actually wrap their heads around moving.
I mean, we've had people the day of the moves have not started packing at all.
Yeah.
Because they're just overwhelmed or they have maybe some issue like depression or something where they just can't get moving.
Yeah. How do you get to the point that you understand how to motivate people to detach from their things, or like you walk through the property with them and they're showing you the things? Like, how can you tell what? I think that was the thing that I noticed you said, like their kids' box of trinkets or whatever is like the hard. Like, how do you figure out what's the keeps, where the emotional items? How do you differentiate?
You have to be perceptive for one. The older they are, the more you can kind of read it a little bit sometimes because their emotions show more, or in my experience, the longer they've been at a place, the more stuff they have. But usually they're kind of open, like, oh, my husband died in June or whatever, and then like, well, let's hit the other areas first. So
you would. I would instead of going to the husband stuff, you would
unless she's like, I really need this out of here, because everybody's different with their grief or with their whatever. and let's go through it, And so not anyone is the same, right? But in general, we do that last. I can't make anyone get rid of anything, but really I can motivate them. I can bring them to the water, right? Can't make them drink.
So have you had people that they say, stop, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people actually can only do about 4 hours of organizing. They get, because it's a lot of decision making, and maybe they're not used to letting things go. So it's some sort of emotional tie that goes deeper than my, I'm not a psychiatrist. It goes deeper than my knowledge, right? But I just try to be gentle and sensitive. And if I'll even ask, do you want me to push you? Because some people are like, you need to push me. All right, that's a different hat. I'll go ahead and do that.
Right.
And then I'll remind you, you pushed me. You told me to push you.
So seeing this kind of stuff, like, do you have advice for someone that has a bunch of stuff? Like someone that has
why? Why do you have it?
Right.
Ask yourself why.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, and there are clean hoarders, and not everybody's a hoarder, but I mean, there are clean collectors, and there are dirty, like where it's mold and feces. And, I'm sure you've seen it too. So there's a different level of what's going on in their head and their life, that they're letting it get to that level.
What would the advice be for someone that's lived in a house for 20 years? Like, if they were to get started on something, the first thing would be to call you.
Right. They're going to call me, hey, I'm moving in a month.
Yeah.
Can you tell me your rates and what you guys do? And I'll say, oh, so how long have you lived there? I've lived here about 20 years. All right, well, it sounds like you might need some decluttering.
Yeah.
Because 20 years, you can accumulate a lot of stuff, and maybe we should go through from closet to closet, from room to room, and see what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep. Maybe you can sell some stuff that you don't want in between time, because you've got a whole month. We only need like the day or two before the move to pack them up.
Oh, really?
We don't need a week before and they live in boxes. That's just ridiculous. But we can declutter at any point in time.
Okay. So
because we're just
getting started ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with the stuff?
So we have a lot of donation places or charity places that we donate items to, a whole list. If they want to sell things, we offer to do it on Facebook Marketplace, but we're not going to take it and store it. We'll take a picture and post it and let you know how it goes. Not to that level. So that's all the selling.
Explain that to me.
So a lot of people want to sell something,
right.
or don't deal with it. Just, and so we'll list it on Facebook.
Your Facebook?
Not on Facebook Marketplace.
On Facebook Marketplace, but who's the seller?
I would share it on my
Who's the seller?
page.
They are the seller.
They're the seller, yeah.
Oh, you help them set that up?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because some people don't know how to work the internet or get on Facebook Marketplace.
So you just set it up in a way that someone that's going to buy it, they have clear directions on how to get it.
We'll even do an estate sale for them if they want.
Really? And you don't make profit on that?
Well, we have an hourly rate.
Oh, okay.
We don't do the profit. But if you don't sell anything, it's
you
still
paid
our
the
hourly rate. Yeah. So,
do you think some of the things that people think are valuable, do they learn in that moment? Is that like one of the lessons that they learn? They try to put it up for sale and it doesn't sell? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we think are valuable that are not valuable to the public anymore.
Yeah. Like
glassware from the 50s or, like it's a specific collector, if it's being collected anymore. Beanie Babies. Oh my God. I've seen rooms full of Beanie Babies.
Come on.
Yeah.
What other type of collections have you seen?
Oh gosh, I wish I had a picture on me. Like figurines, from like Marvel Comics or something or whatever. But
like toys.
Where it's just the whole room, huge room. Shelves all around it from the top to the bottom with all these figures. And I have one of my employees holding a big, like, I don't know what it is, like
some kind
Skeletor or Transformer, and she's like, it's cute. But all sorts of and they love them. So we have to treat them with respect and wrap them well. And some of them are worth a lot of money and we wouldn't even know because it's not our thing. But
what about hoarders? Do you get into that? Like, I mean, everybody's, like you said, like I was interested in how you said that people have stuff packed in their shed. They're hoarding stuff in their shed. So I guess that word goes towards that even if their house is completely clean and they have a bunch of stuff in the shed or a storage unit or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, if you keep stuff at any level, I think, and you don't actually, like it's just not getting any life, like it's just in that back corner of your closet forever or the garage, and it's just there because, I don't know, maybe once you fit in it or it was from prom or I don't know, maybe someone gave it to you and whatever the reason.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
It's take it out, frame it, do something to where people can enjoy it. Or I think that's hoarding when you just keep it to keep it.
So your house is super organized?
It's organized, but not all the time. I used to be worse. I used to be a lot worse. Like kids would come home and their shoes would be by the door and I'd immediately put them away.
Yeah.
It was years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've got to kind of have a balance. A little crazy back then, a little too OCD about it.
That's how you got into this?
That's how I got into it.
Yeah. And
I don't like, smoke or anything. I clean. Right. When I'm mad, the kids are like, oh, mom's mad. She's cleaning. Cupboards are slamming. She's out there scrubbing counters.
That's great.
I don't yell.
Do you think, what do you think made it so that you're not as intense about it now?
Maturity.
Yeah.
Like, does that really matter?
Right.
It's more stress for me to go pick that up or yell at the kids or something like,
Yeah. I just think about it all the time, and I don't know how many times we've sent people to you. Not enough.
Yeah, never stop.
It hasn't been enough people.
And we appreciate it.
And as I get more empathetic and I get more, concerned about people, and that moving is so stressful.
It's stressful.
It's super stressful.
Could you imagine having a company that comes in, gets rid of all the things you don't want, packs everything up, unpacks it, then organizes the whole house?
Yeah.
Just go on vacation. You're fine.
Yeah.
Guy, if only we knew of a company that,
That's
LadyCat packing and organizing.
Well, and one of the reasons is that I did this is just because I feel like a lot of people do have that question of how to get from one place to the other. Mm-hmm. And I think that this will be really helpful for them. And for that, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing what you do.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to share it with everyone I can. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.